Thanks for watching Lehman Racing Podcast. Please make sure you check out my recent episodes. They're pretty cool. Thank you for watching and thank you for the support and enjoy the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lehman Racing Podcast. Your host, Dalton McVeigh. So tonight we actually have a little bit of a special kind of interpret it into tonight's episode as well. So we got a guest from, we're going to do a little bit of an interview from a local racer. And then we got two special co-hosts from out in Kentucky area that from 8158 Podcast as well. So we're going to bring the co-hosts on real quick. Let them introduce themselves. So the first one is Rico. So welcome Rico to the stage. And the second one is Brianne. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Okay. So a little bit more, if you want to let the viewers know a little bit more about yourself in a sense, as far as it's a little bit of a brief introduction.
I think Rico's having trouble with his, I think he can't hear you.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me now?
That's weird. It was just working.
Can you hear me, Brianne? No?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I can't hear nothing.
Can you hear Brianne at all as far as
Can you hear me?
On my end,
Check.
it's good. I just hear him.
Oh, you can hear me though? You
I can't hear you either.
Okay. Shoot.
Let's
That's
see.
so weird. It was working.
Yeah, that's weird. Let's see.
Technical difficulties. Please,
Please hold.
Oh, wonder what. I mean, my mic's saying it's working. Weird.
You need to
What
go
about-
back, maybe?
I can't hear you nothing.
All right. Give me a second.
Can you
Hold
hear
up.
Brianne?
I can hear him.
I can't hear him at all. I can't hear you either.
Maybe go back out and then go back.
I'll say if you want to try to go back out and come back in, we go. Try that. Or you want me to go out?
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It was just working.
It was working fine. Yeah, that's so weird.
But, yep, just please hold. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we'll get there.
It gets complicated when you have more than one person.
There we go. Let's see.
I can hear you now.
Ah,
All right, so we're good?
Yeah.
All right. So as I was saying beforehand, just a little brief introduction from you guys, like where you're from and, about your podcast you do.
So we currently live in Kentucky. We run the 8158 podcast. This is my wife, Brianne. She's the productions manager at 8158 podcast, Stories of Sacrifice. This podcast was started in honor of my cousin, William H. Bill Butler. Everybody knows him as Bill or Billy. We call him Billy growing up, but he was a sheriff's deputy who was killed in line of duty last year. So we started this podcast in his honor, and we talk to first responders, and we kind of let them air their stories out to kind of get them help with their mental health issues and anything like that, or talk to families as well. And we also have interviews with military veterans.
Awesome. All right. So we're beginning on as far as getting into the podcast here. So we're going to add in our first guest here, be Marcus Davis. He's a local racetrack driver there at Oakshade, and welcome Marcus to the stage. How you doing, Marcus?
Hi, Dalton. How you
So
doing, man?
good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just relaxing, winding down, getting ready to go back to work tomorrow after the weekend.
I feel that. um, so as far as that, so we'll get right into it. So what got you into? First off, where do you race at, and a little bit about yourself.
So our home track is Oakshade. We've been to Angola Motor Speedway in Indiana. I mean, we've been to Michigan racing. We've been to a couple different tracks here and there. I'm originally from Swanton, but I'm really just kind of, you know, bouncing around right now into looking for a better place to basically, get like a house, settle down out of everything, and just kind of go from there.
So
So you're
what?
originally from Ohio.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, you're originally from Ohio. Then you said you
Yep,
Swanton.
yep.
Okay.
Just Swanton, Ohio. Yep.
Yep. I know where it's at. I used to live in Montpelier. So
Oh, yep. Yeah, not too far from there.
yeah.
So what was your favorite track in all the tracks that you've been to? What was your favorite one?
So my favorite one, the one that probably stands out the most, is probably Michigan, which is Springport Motor Speedway. We normally go there once a year, for the Michigan Cup. And so it just so happened to be on the same weekend my dad passed back in 2015. And, it just happens to be in the same weekend that he originally passed in. So we go, and that's just kind of a race that, really stands out for us, that gets us, that's exciting for us to go.
So did you? Was there a legacy behind all this racing? Like, did your dad, your uncle, family member, in a sense?
So my grandpa raced go-karts. My dad raced, he raced bombers at Oakshade, and he also raced dwarf cars. And then I have my uncle Dave, which races bombers out at Oakshade now. And then I got a couple friends that race bombers in other classes and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But back before, like, I actually got a car and stuff, I was going to the racetrack with, like, my uncle Dave and stuff, just being a tire man and hanging out with him, just being there, being around the track, and then seeing the different people at the racetrack that actually converts over to family and friends, that was people that you didn't even know in the beginning.
Gotcha. What was your proudest moment so far, as being, in the racing, like throughout? I mean, how long have you been racing too? Let's go with that question first.
So we've been racing 7 years. We've had a car 8. And probably my proudest moment would probably be the first night that we ever ran asphalt. I was pretty nervous and stuff, wasn't really too familiar with it or anything. We've always raced dirt. We wasn't really sure on, the outcome of it and everything. And I went with Nate Goodman the very first night out asphalt racing, and I had a blast, man.
Awesome. Yeah, as far as asphalt racing, I wanted to go out and try it out sometime, but I don't know. I was gonna go out to Angola here probably this coming up weekend. I was thinking about it, and I don't even know if my car's legal over there, so I looked through the rules, but it's tough.
So the downside is with Angola is you need the American racers if you're gonna go run.
Gotcha.
So most, like, unless you get a sponsor, then you gotta buy a set of tires to go run there. And their rules are a little more strict than, like, just say for an example like Oakshade. They really crack down on tech there. They really want their racers and their fans and stuff to be, 100% safe there whenever you go there. It's just a track that they actually enjoy, the outcome of everything throughout the night.
What was your challenges moment kind of thing, and how'd you overcome it?
So my challenging moment was probably be the first car that we had, we took it out. We ran probably a quarter of the season, and this was back when I very first started racing. We blew a head gasket in it, and that was back whenever I didn't really know what I was doing or what I was looking for, or basically diagnose my problem of what was going on with the car to get it fixed for the following week. And after that, I wanted to kind of hang it up, and we just had to keep digging. I enjoyed it. I liked it, and I had to learn more. I had to, know more than what I knew last week if I wanted to be better for this week.
So, what was your early interest back in racing? As far as what turned your eye towards it? Like, man, I really want to do that.
So what really spiked it was, well, Dad raced bombers and stuff. Like he just basically, I wanted to live through him, live through everything that happened that he did. Once he passed in 2015, he hadn't, seen me be in a car or anything. And with all the pictures of him that I got from him, from the family and stuff of when he was racing, I just thought it was cool. And then, like I said, my Uncle Dave, he races. So I've been around it, pretty much most of my life.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
I'm sorry, I really don't know anything about racing, so this might seem like a dumb question. But do you get like money or trophies, or like how does it work?
So it depends on really where you're racing at. Like Oakshade, you get some money back. It just kind of really depends. Asphalt pays a little better than dirt, depending on what you're racing or where you're racing at. It's really a lot of factors that play into it. But like certain races, you'll get trophies, and other races, you'll get like a bigger payout or something.
And so, how many have you won?
So I haven't won yet.
Okay.
I did get a top 10 in points. I think it was 2017 or 2018. I think, but we got 8th out of top 10 in points. And it was a pretty fun year. It really was. It was an up and down year, and really like everybody's doing the same thing you're doing, just trying to achieve, be faster every week. And then by the end of the season, you see where you're at, and everybody, you could be 2 points away from each other, or you could be 10 points. It just really depends.
So you get basically points for every race, which count up towards the end of the season. They add up.
Yeah. Yep. So basically, I think as far as like my best year was 22, because 22 I was like 19th out of 63 cars throughout the year, which a lot of them didn't show up every week, but throughout the year they gained up in points, and I think I finished like 19th that year. I was in 12th until I didn't go this weekend because went with the girlfriend to the campground, but still, but I was like 12th in points, and then who knows where I'm at now.
Yeah. A lot of it where you finish up on top is literally going every week. There's a lot of the cars that, they really enjoy going racing and stuff, but it's actually hard to keep your car on the racetrack every week, racing at for an example, at the dirt tracks, your equipment and stuff is getting beat up more than it is on asphalt, because the dirt's a little more rough, or just everything's a little different.
Divots and ruts and all that stuff that are in the dirt.
Yeah, yep. Tearing up equipment or whatever the case is.
In my case, breaking spindles off and making the car go airborne.
Oh no!
I don't want that to happen.
Is that in turn 1 and 2?
Yeah.
That recently just happened, or was that something a little while ago?
So it didn't happen. I think the first time it actually happened, but it didn't really send me airborne. But when I first got the car off of Adam, back in 2024, it was towards the end of the year because I just bought the car back, and he raced it throughout the night, and then he said, "Yeah, I can race it in the feature." Which I didn't know exactly why they did that, but besides the point. But I went out in the feature, and I went out and I was running up with I think it was like 10th or 9th. I don't know. I was running up with some of them guys up there, and I go in the corner, and the car all of a sudden wanted to shoot to the right. And I knew something wasn't right because I had it turned to the left, and the car went like this, like something literally just broke, and it just took me that way. And so I knew something wasn't right, so I pulled off this pace, and I'm lucky I got to the trailer because my driver's tire was like this off the side of the car. And I pulled up and someone actually jumped my back tire, so that's flat too. So I'm wondering why I'm so gosh dang close to the ground. It seemed like flat tire and other tires kind of out. And so we loaded it up, but the second day the CV axle popped out, which the driveline axle, and car was stuck on the trailer until I got it fixed. But that was the only time it really happened. But I've actually seen someone with a Cobalt that literally broke a spindle and they flipped on their top, and that was scary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that video was floating around on Facebook there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a question for both of you guys. What does it take, like, for somebody who's just getting started, for your audience that wants to race? What does it take to get started racing, whatever kind of division that you guys are racing, whether it's dirt track or asphalt?
So the biggest thing I feel like that the younger people that are trying to get into it is like the want to do it, the drive, is the biggest thing. Like that's the number one thing. There's people that say they want to do it, and then there's people that actually do it, that they want to do something with it instead of talk about it.
So the other thing is also, I noticed Nate Goodman said this too, which was very true, and I actually agree with him on this. So he's the one that's Goodman Performance also, and he brought up when I was bringing up that advice at the end, he said you pick one person you listen to, and you listen to kind of like how to like set your car up, stuff like that, and like what you need to do to get your car. He's like, you pick one guy to listen to, because if you listen to this guy, he's just going to be like, the one guy's going to be like, hey, you got to do this to your car, this and this and this, when the other guy, he's been in the racing for, let's say, 30 plus years, and he's got not even that, and he's still doing good. You pick one guy you want to listen to, because there's always going to be different opinions compared to who you ask, so, and a lot of them are going to say, oh, you need tons of money in this car to catch up with this. But there's some that probably don't even have $2,000 in their car, and they whoop those guys that have $30,000 in the car because of the driving skills, the setup, the stuff like that. So you definitely pick one person that you listen to, for sure. But as far as it goes, I'm
sure. Like Oakshade, for an example, there's some nights where the dirt changes and stuff depending on the weather we've had from the previous week before. I mean, some nights at Oakshade is more of a small motor night than it is a big motor night because of the way the dirt is.
Like, it could be muddy, it could be soupy, muddy on the track kind of thing. And those big motor guys, they're just spinning. And here comes the guys like me and Marcus come through there. We're all the way from back to front on those nights. And then there's nights that those big motors are in the front and they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah, they're pulling away from us, yeah.
It just all depends what tire gets traction and what kind of tires they have on there too. It comes down to that, and plus the driving too. But
after that, like, really, you need a safe cage. These cars, they're not made for
safety,
like to do what we're doing. But if you got a safe cage and it holds up, safety. Don't cheap out on safety gear. If you see something for this price, and then you're looking at this, probably go with the little more expensive one. I know your pocket don't like it, but you'll like it in the long run.
Well, because you see, like, you go to, let's say you go to Butler, for instance. I'll just use that. When you go to Butler there in Quincy, so I show up and I'll see these guys that have these cages, like mine ain't too bad compared to what I've seen. There was cages like how mine's like lower profile, but that's okay because I'm sitting on the floor practically anyway, so the cage is not a big deal. But
Right.
the thing is, I see people out there with cages that are just above their seat. And when they're just above their seat, okay, now you got to add in the helmet when it's on, the height of the helmet, how far it sticks off your head. Now you're taking a chance of it being above the roll cage. Now, if you're above the roll cage, you flip. That's not going to feel very good. You probably break a neck or hurt something.
You're going to break your neck and your collarbone or whatever else because you're going to crush yourself.
So it's
the cage is made for your car, so then when you get in a wreck, you're safe and everything around the cage can collapse. Your cage is your stopping point. So, realistically, you should be inside of your cage all the way around. That way, so then you're not getting hurt and other people around you,
I mean, as far as I go, I need to get a little bar that goes around the seat. Little bar that goes around the seat there by the window seal. Because
the top of the cage, like the top of the cage down to the bottom, like just around the seat.
Called it like a halo.
Yeah, halo bar in the corner there.
Yeah, I just better off. I never had it happen, but not to say it would happen. But if a tire came through the window, the only thing stopping it is the window net, and that's not going to stop much.
Well, I don't know. I've seen some crazy stuff when it comes to those window nets, man. Those really save people's lives sometimes, man. Like, you'll get people that are in a rush to get out on the racetrack, and they don't double check their lug nuts or whatever, and they get out there, they're getting going, and here comes their tire, just rolling down the racetrack.
Oh, I've seen that happen. They go out there and they're like, "Oh, come on, hurry up, get my car ready, get my car ready." And I got to go out there when they come on for the hot pit, and then they don't tighten the lug nuts off. And first corner they make, tire goes this way, and the car goes this way.
Yep. And then they're coming back in the pits all mad and everything else because, they tried to take the easy way out with it.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll go into the one last question here. So was there any sponsors you wanted to thank going out through the year, going into this year?
So we've had Goodman Performance on board pretty much since we've started racing. Uncle Dave's another big one. If he's got some parts or something, or I need something, I get a hold of him. We do have Wild and Faro Customs that we just recently started, which is our vinyl company. We make T-shirts and stickers and stuff like that. And then before that, we had one last year, and we're trying to get them back on board this year. Just had some health issues and stuff a little bit, some family stuff go on, and we're just trying to get them back on board this year. It'll be pretty cool, hopefully. We haven't planned on racing a whole lot this year. I recently got a new job and stuff and relocated, so I'm more focused on that before we get back into the racing fully. Just to take a bigger step, get more solid before we go have fun. Try and build a little more money to get a little better car and everything.
Awesome. But all right. Did you guys have any more questions over there as far as anything more?
I was just wondering, aside from the prize money and all that stuff, what's the adrenaline rush like for you just racing?
So the biggest rush really is it starts Friday night into Saturday morning long before you even get to the racetrack. I mean, it starts as soon as you roll up and roll that car out of the garage, and there's people around you that has been there since day one, and you guys load that car up on the trailer, and you get to go have fun with all of your friends. You know, some people like to have cookouts and barbecues and stuff like that, and us, we just like to go to the racetrack and go have fun.
Right.
And then you see, like, you pull in and you got an open trailer or whatever, and you see all these little kids, you know, waving at you and, you know, talking to you and stuff like that. And, you know, I was one of them little kids at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just gotta, if you want to do it, you'll do it. And if not, you know, there's people that are watching that, you know, don't necessarily have the truck or the trailer or whatever it is that's stopping them to go racing, but they are there to support you, you know, as family in the long run with it. You know, there's some people that like to drive race cars, and then there's other people that just like to be around the race cars. Everybody's got different outlooks on it, but the kids is really the drive for it. Like,
That's the biggest part right there.
you see all the kids just smiling and, you know, cheering. And, you know, I go to the gas station and I'm pumping gas, you know, just getting gas in my truck or whatever the case is, and there's somebody that's walking up trying to say hi. And, you know, I don't know this person, but they say they've seen me race at the racetrack before. You don't really know who's in the stands watching you.
Right.
It's just, you get a bigger name than you realize by actually being out there on the racetrack and, you know, having fun and getting people to, like, see what you do.
And even though also you got, like, when you're out there, you know, for me, the adrenaline rush starts when you're in the lineup. That's the biggest thing, because, like, my nerves are a mess. Like, I'm nervous as all get out when I'm in the lineup, because the before hot laps, you know, before the night starts, because you don't know what the night's going to turn out to be. That's the mystery about it. It's unpredictable. It really is. But once you get going and once you're on the track and the green flag's waving, the nerves gone. You're just yourself.
Yeah, right out the window. It just completely drops. You don't think about nothing. You don't think about anybody in the grandstands. I mean, sometimes you barely even think about the person behind you. You know, you're only chasing the person that's in front of you.
Right.
All righty. All right. Well, thank you, Marcus, for being on, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
You have a good day.
Nice meeting you, Rico. Nice meeting you, Bren.
Too, Marcus. Thank you, buddy.
Yep, no problem.
All right, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
I always wondered what it was like. I know I wanted to pay for one of those deals at the Michigan International Speedway to drive one of the NASCARs for, I don't know, about 30 minutes or so, just to see what it was like.
I always wanted to try that. That's a pretty cool experience. But the biggest thing is like, when you look at the ticket for it, it's like,
I know we have a racetrack here in Bowling Green that they do Corvette races.
Oh, awesome!
We have a track here in Bowling Green, yeah. So I wonder how much that is.
Like the ticket,
yeah, they have a track for it. So.
The ticket for MIS is like, I want to say like the like $400 to $500 each.
Yeah, for just to get in the gate.
Just to get in the car and do probably 3 laps.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
like a fire suit, and NASCAR. It's expensive. But all right, guys. Well, we'll go on to our next topic here for today's episode. Now, I wanted to do something special because I haven't done this even for Memorial Day because it's been busy, and this has probably been my second episode in a couple weeks. We've been kind of busy with work and stuff like that, and all that. But I wanted to do something special for 4th of July. I wanted to do some tributing for the 4th of July soldiers, fallen soldiers, and for our good friend and his cousin, Billy Butler.
Awesome.
Did you guys want to take it away a little bit on that, or? I mean, I got the videos if you want me to go right to that, but I didn't know if
you
you
go
guys
ahead and do the videos, and we can talk about that.
All right. So this one was 4th of July. Well, I got to actually share it. Hold on. So this one was 4th of July. At our local fairgrounds, they did a tribute to Billy Butler from 2024 of June 27th. That's when this happened. So here, everything looking good over there as far as the screen wise.
That looks good.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I get your attention, please? Can everybody please rise? And can we have complete silence? Hillsdale County Sheriff's Department, please place the wreath. Up here. Please stand. Oh! Ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, today we gather not only to remember, but to celebrate the life, service, and legacy of a remarkable American. Sergeant First Class and Deputy William Butler Jr. Sergeant First Class Butler was more than a soldier. He was a guardian of our values, a mentor to many, and a friend who all had the honor of knowing him. For over 2 decades, he served this nation with steadfast courage, unshakable discipline, and a sense of duty that inspired everyone who stood beside him. From the early days of his service to his final assignment, Sergeant First Class Butler embodied the core Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. He didn't just live by those words, he breathed life into them. Whether he was leading the patrol, guiding a young recruit, or standing tall in the face of adversity, he led not with loud commands, but with quiet strength and unwavering example. Those who served alongside him will tell you, he was the kind of leader who made you better. Better at your job, better under pressure, and better as a person. He listened when others spoke. He stood up when others faltered. And he never ever gave less than 100%, whether in the field, in the classroom, or in this community. But perhaps what set Sergeant First Class Butler apart most was not just the stripes on his sleeve or the medals on his chest. It was the size of his heart. Behind the uniform was a man of deep kindness and humility. A devoted father, a loving husband, a man who can make you laugh even on the darkest days. His impact is lasting. He lives on in the lessons he taught, the lives he touched, and the courage he modeled. We owe him a debt we can never, ever fully repay. But we honor him best by how we carry his legacy forward, with integrity, with compassion, and with the same quiet resolve he showed every day of his life. To Sergeant First Class Butler Jr., thank you. Thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your example. You are missed deeply and remembered always. God bless you, and may we all be worthy of the freedom you fought to protect. Rico. Thank you, everybody. Let's have a party.
So, how do we like the video?
It's a tough one.
Pretty touching.
Yeah, I added the music in there because I figured it was a good touch to that one. So
They did a pretty good job, buddy.
That was this year, right?
that was what was that? Sorry, I didn't.
Was
catch
that this year or last year?
Yeah, this was last Thursday. They did a tribute there at the 4th of July thing for him.
Okay.
They had the Legion line up in the back, and then they walked up to the front stage, and the sheriff department was in the middle of it all with the wreath.
Okay. Yeah, because last year at the, the funeral was the 3rd, and so at the 4th of July celebration, they did a tribute for him too last year.
Yeah, there was one person that said, like one person behind us or something though was sitting behind us, and I don't know if it was behind us or beside us. I don't know. He was telling my dad, he's like, man, why do they keep bringing him up? And I said, because, and he looked at him, he's like, because he's never to be forgotten. That's for sure. My dad looked at him. He's like, he looked at him. He's like, why be so negative? The guy put his life on the line. And that's what, and I'm sorry, but I bring it up because there's people nowadays doesn't even have respect for volunteer firefighters, and we do this stuff for free that full-time do. So it's, you gotta love how that goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of ungrateful people. They don't understand the full impact of what it is to, or what it means to sacrifice. Especially with my cousin. He was such an amazing person, and he sacrificed it all. He gave everything.
Mm-hmm.
He gave up his family. He gave up everything to save others' lives, and not just for his community. He did it for his country. He did 3 tours overseas. How many military veterans can you say that were willing to do that? How many deputies can say that they were willing to sacrifice their life for another deputy? So yeah, he won't be forgotten.
Right, exactly. Right.
Well, and not only that, his life was taken very, brutally, and he was very, very young. So for people to say, why do they keep bringing him up? Well, not only was he a police officer, he was murdered,
Right,
I mean, so
exactly.
it's not like, it's not like it was a traffic accident or something like that. Like somebody actually took his life. So yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Right. Yeah. And the biggest thing is like, it's like let's say I know I've never been across seas or anything like that, but like leaving the house to go, like I'm leaving my mom, my dad. Well, my dad's on the same fire department as me, but like my mom, my sister, my brother, family wise, you're leaving your family wise to go into a burning building and a fire perspective. And that building could collapse, all we know. We're going in there because we were told there was a person in there. Regardless what it is, if we get told there's a live human being inside of a fire and we are able to go in, we are going in. We don't know. And we don't know if they're telling us that, oh, there's a live human being, but they could be talking about their dog. They could be talking about their cat. They could be talking about this. All we know is there's a live human being inside there, so we're going in on that assumption. So that being said, you go in there, you get midway in that house, all of a sudden you hear the evacuation horn going off. You can't get out. There's another instance, corrections officer. You're going in with a bunch of inmates that have been put in there probably because they murdered someone or they've done something or they, something bad. And we're going right in there and putting our lives at risk between the 5 walls called the prison.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that it's a sacrifice, and it is. Every day you go in or every day you're on the road like Butler was, it's a sacrifice. You don't know what you're going to deal with that day when you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's really what we try to do with the podcast is just make people understand that they're people too. They have families and people that love them, and they're doing this because they love the community and they love people and they want to help, and they don't mind the sacrifice. They know what they're risking. But, people don't think about that when they think about, oh, he's a police officer. He's pulling me over. He's giving me a ticket. He's doing his job and he's keeping the community safe by pulling you over because, he doesn't know who you are or what you might be doing. But, we really just want people to understand that they are people too, that, you especially because of, you're being in corrections and fire, that you guys are people too. And you have families and people that love you and they want you to come home safe.
Right. And like my little brother, okay, when he asked, he goes, "Hey brother, what do you do for a living?" And he's 5 years old. So I tell him, I go babysit bad guys. That's what I tell him. But the thing is, for a father telling his little kid that, hey, I got to go take care of some bad guys today, or hey, I got to go do this. He's giving his kid a hug. That could be the last time he gives his kid a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't really realize the reality of that. Like you leave the house, you don't know if you're going to return to that day because you're going in, like you're basically going after the guys that are breaking the law, or you're after the guys that already broke the law, and they don't care what happens to you. They don't care. There's something up here that's not ticking sometimes, and they just don't care.
Right.
Another thing I'd like to add about Billy, my cousin, is that he didn't have to work. He'd already retired from the military, so he's getting money from that. Plus, he was a realtor. A lot of people forget that that's what he did for a living. He was a realtor. He sold plenty of houses, so they had plenty of money. Mm-hmm. He did law enforcement because he loved the job. He loved his community, and for this gentleman or this kid who's asking why keep bringing him up, that's exactly why.
Right.
Because he did it because he didn't need the money. He did it because he loved it. Mm-hmm. He put his life on the line because he loved the people of his county. And if that kid was in a situation, or if his family was in a situation, my cousin would have risked his own life to save theirs. Mm-hmm. Because that's who he was.
And, that is what is rewarding about all the law enforcement agents, even like the ones that are, corrections officer, firefighter, stuff like that. It's because we love doing it.
Exactly.
Bottom line. Me, yeah, sure. We're a volunteer department. Everybody says we get paid. Yeah, okay, $20 a call every 3 months. That really doesn't add up to very much. But the thing is like I tell everybody, yeah, we're getting paid $20 a call. But the thing is, the biggest part of it is I'm not in it for the money. And that's what I bring it up. I said, I'm not in it for the money. I have my main job I do. And my main job is also out in the community, serving and protecting the community. So basically, yeah, you get paid as a full-time person in the law enforcement, sure. But when you've done it so long and you come equipped to it that's your family and that's what you do, a lot of it ain't about the paycheck. Yeah, the paycheck pays the bills, but that's all that money is bill paying money. The rest of it, the job, the action, the people you meet in the, like people that I met in my academy, the people you meet at work daily, they become family. They don't become coworkers, they're family.
Right.
Because you love what you do.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of
Yeah, go ahead, babe.
I was going to say there's not a lot of people that will go run into a burning building for $20.
Like I was saying, we have a lot of guests that don't do the job for the money because it doesn't pay very well. They do the job because they love it, and that people need to be saved. People need what they offer, and they do it because they care.
Right. Exactly.
And they want to be somebody's best part of their worst day.
Yep. Exactly.
Was there anything you guys wanted to bring up about that? Anything, honestly, as far as 4th of July stuff? I brought up the only thing that really stood out to me.
I know that we did a tribute for Billy. For those of you who are listening, it's on our podcast, on the 8158 podcast, Stories of Sacrifice. That's already come out. That came out on his actual end of watch date, June 27th. And if you really wanted to know who Billy was, it kind of really brings in more of a depth of who Billy was. And also the second episode, because the first episode was mine, but the second episode and the third episode with Sarah Butler and his sister Christy, they also talk about Billy and who he was. And so if you guys want to really know why he's being remembered and who he was, you might want to listen to that. And then you'll have a better understanding about the kind of man he was and why he should be honored and why he should be remembered.
And why we have a podcast dedicated to him.
Right. And foundation.
Yes, and a foundation that helps a lot of people, which we've gotten a lot of feedback and say that what we're doing is amazing and it helps a lot of people. So we're going to continue to honor my cousin's legacy and honor him and to honor our first responders, especially you. You're like family to us, because you'd be like family to my cousin. So now you're part of the corrections world, and now you're a firefighter. So
that was a long road getting, as far as getting certified in the fire department, but that's a whole nother story for another day. but so basically, the other thing is I also wanted to bring up, add something here too, along with earlier. When you go, let's say you go on a vacation with your family. Yeah, the best vacation. You guys had fun. Let's say you went down to, say Tennessee, because that's where we like to go. Mm-hmm. You went down to Tennessee. You had a fun week. You really enjoyed each other's company, everything. Well, you came back home. And the day you're going to work, and you get up for work. You kiss your loved one goodbye. You kiss your kids goodbye. You go to work, and then that afternoon you don't come home. Right. And that, I'm pretty sure that was his story, though. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was down here in Kentucky.
But
they went on a trip down there to, I don't know if it was like a fishing trip or a boating outing or something like that. But yeah, they were down here in Kentucky for a few days.
But
I wanted
to explain that a little bit, because a lot didn't know that. I'm sure a lot didn't know unless they watched the tribute episode. I'm sure a lot didn't know that he was on a vacation with his family that weekend before, or that week before, or something like that. And so it's an eye opener. Honestly, it really is.
Yeah, and not only that, I think the next month or soon after, it was their anniversary, their 13th anniversary, and they had already bought tickets to the Caribbean or something. They were going to go as a family about like a month or 6 weeks or something after he had passed away. So they already had that planned.
Wow.
Yeah, for their wedding anniversary. Their was it 13th wedding
Yeah.
anniversary? Yeah.
It's not gonna lie. Episodes like that, the tribute really pulls right there. So that's the big thing. But yeah, as far as that goes, also 4th of July is dedicated to those who served, regardless law enforcement, firefighting, protecting soldiers across seas,
Yep.
military, Marine Corps, National Guard, anybody that's done a serving in some point of some capacity of military, law enforcement, firefighting, or EMS, anything like that. We want to say thank you for your service and thank you for your dedication, your sacrifice. It means so much to us.
Amen to that.
And thank you to the ones who worked on 4th of July as well.
Yeah.
And the ones that leave their families to go save someone's life. That is memorable in itself.
Yeah.
But
Amen.
all right. Was there anything you guys wanted to add as far as that? I got one more video, and I think that will close out our podcast for today.
I don't have anything else. So
Okay. All right. So we'll add that other video, and then we'll get ready to close her out.
all right.
Oh, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I gotta actually get it added to a tab real quick. There we go. Okay. Okay. There we go. No. This is a 4th of July tribute that they had on YouTube, and I thought it was very cool, so I wanted to put it on there for all the soldiers.
Grandpa brought it back from D-Day. Daddy's hid in Vietnam. Might have been in my blood, but they're in the mud of sweet home Afghanistan. Now the VA's gone and named it. This corn popping in our heads. The rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in there, just like the old songwriter said. But like Grandpa would say, don't be crying for me. It's my Medal of Honor that no one can see. And if I sleep a little lighter, if I'm wound a little tighter, well, the cost to be free can be high. So baby, just take my hand and hold me close as you can on the night of the 4th of July. Grandpa signed up 'cause they all did, and Daddy was a lottery pick. I knocked around till the towers came down, and that made my mind up real quick. And you do what you can for Old Glory, and you swear that you do it again. The wars come and go, but one thing we know is there's battles that'll never quite end. but you serve with honor, and you serve with pride. And there'll always be ghosts that come along for the ride. And if I sleep a little lighter, if I'm wound a little tighter, well, the cost to be free can be high. So baby, just take my hand and hold me close as you can on the night of the 4th of July. On the night of the 4th of July.
That was a
Well,
nice
that was
tribute
a
video.
fortunate. That was a very nice tribute video. And so, as I wanted to say one more time before we just, God bless all the troops. Thank you for everything you do. It's the main
Yes,
thing. That's the main thing I want for this video too. But
Thank you. And thank you for doing this tribute episode. We really appreciate it. And thank you for having us on.
not a problem. You guys have a good day, and thank you guys for taking the time to come on.
Of course. Anytime.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate it, man.
Take care, man. Yep. You guys, if you guys need anything, just get a hold of me. You know how to, you got my number. So
Sounds good.
take care.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.